You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here today with Timothy Scholl. He is the Executive Artistic Director at Angels Theater Company, and he's here to talk to us about the new play that they're going to put on here in February. It's called Predictor, and it's by Jennifer Blackmer. And there's also a few other things he has going on that are connected with this play, and we're going to talk to him about that as well. Thank you, sir, very much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me. Always a joy to be on your show.
Thank you.
Welcome. Oh, we're really happy, too.
Yes, indeed. So this is, we love Angels because it's all about the new, and you guys are always doing new stuff, and I love new stuff. And Predictor, I had not heard of this, but it's by Jennifer Blackmer, who's a fairly famous, well-known, and award-winning playwright. And you guys are doing this sort of a world premiere type of situation.
Yes.
That you were sort of, or we were talking a bit about earlier. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, this play and the world premiere situation. And I believe you're directing as well, yes?
I am. Yeah, I get to wear both hats, producing and directing here.
Excellent.
Really enjoying it. So Predictor is the true story of a real person, a shero, if you will, named Meg Crane.
Okay.
And Meg Crane is the inventor of the home pregnancy test. She invented the home pregnancy test in 1967.
Yes.
And this entire play came about because there was a New York Times article around 2015, 2016 that was entitled, "Can Women Be Trusted with Their Own Pregnancy Tests?"
Yeah, oh my God.
And this article was making a correction because another article had previously said that Meg was not, or they said EPT created the first home pregnancy test. And Meg said, no, hey, wait a minute, it was me.
Yeah.
And so Jennifer Blackmer, who's been a friend of mine for, 30 years.
Wow.
Oh, okay, nice.
So she was really struck by this article, and one thing led to another. She ends up getting in touch with Meg and saying, look, I really want to write a play about your life, because one of Jennifer's ideologies as part of her artistic statement is really looking at undercredited and really strong female characters who are in unique situations. So she writes a lot about science. She writes a lot about really complex women characters who are interacting in their world and what they're creating, etc. She has another play called Delicate Particle Logic about Lisa Meitner, who famously worked with Otto Hahn in splitting the atom, which led to the development of the atom bomb. But of course, if you read the history books, it's all about Otto Hahn. It's not about Lisa Meitner.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of Jennifer's focus. So
cool.
We started talking about this play about 2 years ago, and the timing seemed really good. And of course, we had the pandemic years, and that kind of set everything back a little bit. But then this summer, the Supreme Court handed down the decision that became very famous, and this play became a lot more relevant.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not because it's about abortion or anything like that, but it is about bodily autonomy, and it is about women making choices about their health care. And it presents the story in a very funny and a very engaging and a very aggravating and frustrating way. Jen has a very unique storytelling style. I just used the word very unique, didn't I? I promised myself I would never do that
Very
as an
unique.
educated person. So let me correct. Jen has a unique storytelling style. But yeah, I'm just really pleased not only to be premiering and working with a world premiere
That's so
of
cool.
such a great script, but because it's from a dear friend from so long ago, and
Yeah.
I'm really just excited about this whole process.
Did you guys go to college together or something? Or where did you meet?
We did, yeah.
Excellent.
We actually went to the University of Evansville in Indiana many years ago. I won't say how long.
All right, fair enough.
More to protect Jennifer than myself.
I understand.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw that she also got involved in the Illinois Shakespeare Festival, which I know that Christina Kirk was down at Nebraska Repertory, had been involved in that festival
yeah.
as well. So they might even know each other.
They may.
Yeah.
Sometimes the more theater people you know, the more you realize it's kind of a small world.
Small world.
It's a pretty small world, yeah.
Yeah, it's neat. I love it though.
Yeah.
We were talking just a little bit before, and you were talking about. I love the title, for one, Predictor, because the first it's very intriguing, and I'm like, what the heck is this about? And you're like, oh, it's about the lady that invented the home pregnancy test, and I love sort of Jennifer Blackmer's sort of mission about what she does in highlighting basically these forgotten and brushed aside women in history,
Yes.
particularly in science. You mentioned it. It seems to be quite prevalent in science.
It's been such a male-dominated field for so long, and even just the way they teach math and science are more geared towards a male brain,
Yes.
than a female brain.
And it
so
seems-
it's exciting to see women in those fields.
Absolutely. And they always have been.
thrive.
That's the thing. They always
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
And it seems like the last, maybe 10, 20 years, we've been finding out more and more about, oh, by the way, it wasn't just this guy, it was actually this lady. Mm-hmm. And then this guy either helped her, or they were a team, or he just took her work and stuck his name on it.
Well, yeah.
Which you hear that a lot too.
And all those women who did the math calculations for the moon landing.
Right.
Yeah, we get stuff like that coming
exactly.
out. Yes.
Yes.
Well, and I haven't read it yet, but I just put it on my list. I know about this new book that came out called Lessons in Chemistry, that apparently is very popular right now among book clubs and others. But it's about a woman who is making her way in the world of chemists, and it seems like it's a really strong correlation with Meg's story here.
For sure.
This isn't just her first science-based type play. She's done some other plays as well.
On some awards
Right?
too, yeah.
And
Some Jennifer, Jennifer has done. She's I want to say there's 8 or 9 plays that she has had developed and produced.
yeah.
I won't tell Jennifer that I play favorites, but I'm really enchanted by her play Delicate Particle Logic, which is about Lisa Meitner.
Nice.
Just a really, really strong script. That one has been produced already, so that takes it kind of out of Angel's work. But
Fair enough.
we can work on Predictor here, and I'm really excited about this show.
Well, yeah, and saying Predictor, and you're talking about a world premiere, and you were telling us earlier this is sort of part of the NNPN, the
National New Play Network.
yes, and that
Correct.
is part of this what they call a rolling premiere, or
Well, so Predictor is not yet part of a rolling world premiere.
Okay.
But it is the same style
Okay.
in that the play will open in Lincoln on February 10th. Later in the year, I believe it's later in the spring, it'll move to Sacramento. So it will also open in Sacramento, California.
Nice.
And then in the late summer, it will be presented in Indianapolis, Indiana. So there are 3 productions that will happen throughout the country right now. Now, other theaters are, as they develop their seasons and as they hear about these plays, if they want to produce this play within an 18-month window, so 18 months of February 10th, then they would also be able to do that, and it could become a rolling world premiere from there.
Okay.
But it's really a designation for a certain number of performances in theaters that do the play in the same 18-month season, if you will.
Right. That's cool.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
So you have your own cast, and it looks like you have several in your cast that have been working on this play.
Yeah.
So how is that going?
Well, we haven't started rehearsal yet, but we have had several readings, and we have had some work with Jennifer already, of course. And we're using quite a few actors from the local area. And at least the young woman who's playing Meg, the title role, lives in New York now, but she's a graduate of Illinois Wesleyan University. And that's where I first encountered her and contacted her about this play, and she's really looking forward to doing it. So she'll be coming back into town to play that role. We've got some Angels newcomers in as well.
Nice.
I believe Britta Tollefson, I believe, is also an Omaha-based actor, but she'll be coming down to play one of the roles.
You're offering some talks around this, and your first talk is coming up here on January 5th to get the
Correct.
community engaged to talk about this.
Yeah, that's just a few
Yeah,
weeks.
so this is such an important topic and such an important play, and the issues that it's going to bring up. And I'm an academic at heart and a German theater scholar, and one of the things about the German theater world is that each community has their own theater because that's where they go to work out some of their community issues, some of their community problems. And I don't know that I would say that this is a community problem, but it's a discussion point that I think we need to have. So what we put together is a community forum. And it's Jennifer Blackmer will be coming in, and Meg Crane, who of course is the subject of the play, will be coming in, and they will hold a discussion moderated by Patti Pansing Brooks, the former senator from in the Nebraska legislature, and it's just going to be a conversation about the play, about Meg's invention of this test and its impact on our world. In a culture of celebrity and YouTube stars and things like that, I think it's really important that, we're going to meet someone in Meg who has literally changed the world.
Yes.
And I don't think that's hyperbole to say.
No.
Because I think that, even looking at, several months ago, I remember taking a home COVID test, thinking, would I be able to take this test today if Meg had not pioneered the taking of the home pregnancy test by yourself?
Yeah.
And I think that is such a monumental change in our society, and to be able to meet someone and talk with someone who has changed our world, really for the better.
Yes.
I think is a tremendous opportunity. So we're really looking forward to that conversation.
That's awesome.
That's a free event. It's going to be at First Plymouth Church.
First Plymouth Church. Okay.
And that's on January the 5th at 6 p.m. And that's really a kickoff to, a discussion. Then we'll have the play opens on February 10th. That's also going to be, that's when my nerves will probably go up, because this will be the first time that Meg ever sees this play performed.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
man.
She will be in the audience opening night watching her story on stage for the very first time. She's been to readings, and she knows what the play is about.
Right.
And she's read the play, obviously, but this will be the first time she ever sees it.
Oh, wow. So Lincoln is her first stop on this.
Oh, cool.
Lincoln is her first stop.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
We are the first world premiere.
That is wonderful.
That'll be a heck of a night for her. I just the fact that somebody wrote I can't imagine. Somebody wrote a play about you, and now they're going to do it. I can't imagine even what that experience is like, just setting aside what she did. Just that there's a play about me out there, and people like it. I mean, it's just like, how crazy is that? I can't imagine what that experience would be like. And then, of course, on top of it all, what she has done for everybody. And like you said, our home COVID tests. In science, we all know one thing kind of builds on another, and she was like the first home test.
Well, yeah, and you can go in the stores now and you can get paternity tests. You can get, of course, you can get the flu tests. You can get HIV tests as well. Yeah. Like you can get all kinds of tests now.
And it started there.
To take at home in the privacy of your home.
Yeah.
And the there's a nice little scene at the beginning of this play, where the idea hits Meg, and she got hired at Organon Pharmaceuticals as a designer,
Okay.
and when she was walking through the lab, she passed this row of test tubes just sitting up there, and she said, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, those are pregnancy tests." It's like, "What do you mean?" And as she was starting to talk to one of the scientists and figure out what's going on, he was like, "Yeah, it's a very complex test." He goes, "Well, why does it happen this way?" And he goes, "Well, it's very complex and it involves a lot of science and a lot of work." And she looked down the line and she goes, "Okay, so pregnant, not pregnant, not pregnant, not pregnant, 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 not pregnant, pregnant. How did I do?" Yeah, you got them all right.
Yeah. Right.
So it doesn't seem that hard.
No.
So why?
Well,
Yeah.
and just to show my age here, the pregnancy tests that I used weren't the strip tests like we see now. It was. It did have two different test tubes, but if the water turns blue, then it was a completely different setup than what we have now. It's more simple now, and it's less waiting time now, for sure.
So there was a moment. I'm not a huge TV guy, but my wife gets into certain shows and watches them all the way through.
Yeah.
And she started watching the show This Is Us. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yes, I've heard of that.
And so I'm working, and like I said, we've been working on this play for a couple of years, and this was this past summer. All of a sudden, she yelled for me to come upstairs, and I was like, "Well, what's going on?" I went upstairs, and she had the television paused. This Is Us was doing an episode about a pregnancy test, and they were using Predictor, and it said it right on the box, Predictor.
Oh,
So it's this scene, and This Is Us takes place apparently in the mid to late 70s. And
Okay.
so yeah, they were using
Oh my
the
God.
original pregnancy test.
Oh wow,
Ah,
that's so cool
That's
that they thought of that.
that's somebody's
Yeah.
clearly doing their research.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Exactly, because it didn't used to look like it looks now.
And that's something I didn't know. I just figured that was the name of the play, Predictor, but that was the name of the actual product that
Yeah.
that she invented. It was called just Predictor.
Predictor was the name that she gave it when she filed the patent.
Okay.
So she filed the patent with the U.S. Patent Office. Her name is on it. You can go to those archives and see all those at this point. Part of the national record, but was largely uncredited with its invention.
Right.
She ended up selling it to Organon Pharmaceuticals for $1.
Wow.
And then they produced the test.
Wow.
What?
Well, yeah, and I don't want to give too much away on the play here,
right.
but this is the thing to understand about Meg, and the thing to understand about, then I think the play does a great job of explaining this, is her motivation in this test was not because she wanted fame or the fortune. It was the altruistic of, this just needs to happen.
Yes.
Women need to be able to do this test themselves and not go see a male doctor, mostly male doctor, wait 3 weeks, then have to go back to that doctor and face whatever judgment or whatever is part of whatever decision that comes back as.
Right.
For a variety of reasons, whether it's joy or sorrow or fear. That's something that woman at that time had to experience through this male doctor.
For sure.
Because that's what was happening at the time. So
Absolutely. And a lot of judgment went with that, I'm sure, many times.
Well, we've come so far, but then steps back.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, this is really exciting. It's an exciting thought, and it's something that we don't normally talk about. So I'm really glad that she has put this into art and let art
absolutely
have this conversation. So
that's really cool, and I like that. I think it's fascinating. I had not heard that about German theater, and that how they produce plays to have a conversation with the community, and I think that's a really neat way to look at theater and to approach theater. especially dealing, because you're specifically dealing with issues that affect everybody, and this is definitely that type of thing, and it's really cool that you are sort of almost treating it in the sort of the German way, and I find that really fascinating. I'd never heard that before, and that's so valuable. I think it's so valuable. I mean, yes, theater's great, entertainment. We all need it. We need that, but education, theater's so good at that, and I think sometimes we can forget that. Yeah. You can also go and kind of learn something, and be changed.
It is a unique art form from the perspective that very few other art forms can have such an immediate visceral effect.
Yes,
because you are engaging in this ephemeral meeting of a live actor on stage and a live audience.
Yeah.
Where not only anything can happen and, the creation and the energies, and you've been on stage before and know that,
sure.
When that energy is flowing. But they've also done recent studies out of London that when an audience sits together, their breathing and their heart rates will start to sync.
Yes.
So that they're engaging in that. And you have to confront this live human being on the other side of the stage. And there's a conception, the German word is Mitleid, which is translated as compassion, but really is a little bit deeper. It means to suffer with. So that when you are encountering someone on stage, you are experiencing the world from their perspective.
Yeah.
And it's why I've said, for a long time, it sounds like I'm being gratuitous here, but things like violence and nudity.
Sure.
Violence and nudity work on film.
Yes.
Why don't they work on stage? Well, because nudity on stage isn't sexy; it's uncomfortable.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's another human being there going, "Oh, wow, I shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah.
Violence on stage is, we can watch two movie stars beat each other up, but if somebody gets slapped on stage,
it's
you
shocking.
can feel the visceral impact on the audience. When we did a premiere of This Mortal Life also, which we did last February. It was about the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and we very specifically kept a lot of Nazi iconography out of the play.
Okay.
But there was one point where we had to use a swastika on an armband for one of the characters that came in.
Mm-hmm.
And I staged it so that when he came in, that armband was on the upstage side.
Okay.
And when he turned every night, there was an audible, visceral reaction in the theater. Because as soon as they saw that, and I was like, if that's what is happening because you see a swastika on stage,
symbol,
that symbol, then I knew at that point that the audience was with us.
Yeah, right.
Just
that they were
symbol
there
carried so much weight.
Much weight. And I believe, and I really am fascinated and thankful for this ephemeral nature of this art form that just allows us to make really strong visceral connections with other human beings.
Sure.
And so the stories and I know I don't want you to have to give it away or anything like that, but the stories in this play it's not just the story of one woman, it's the story of other situations as well, or is it just
Well, it's Meg's story, but it's the story of how Meg encountered this. So that to give away kind of the style of the play, if you will.
Okay.
The stage directions say that the play takes place in Meg's head, somewhere in Organon Pharmaceuticals, which is somewhere in New Jersey. That's kind of the statement.
Okay.
The time frame of the play is about 7 seconds.
Oh.
Because at the top of the play, Meg sits down to sign the contract. And it's the contract to sign over the rights of her invention to Organon Pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
And when she sits down to sign the contract, she pauses. And then the entire play opens up as a look back at what happened and how we got here, and all of the women she encountered, all of the men she encountered who say the frustrating things
Yeah. Oh,
that
yes.
all of the things you can imagine were said to a woman, a single woman who's working in the 1960s in a
Single.
pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, single probably made it even worse. Yeah.
Made it even worse.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
her relationship with her roommate, her relationship with her mother, her relationship with the people who she worked with,
Yeah.
her relationship with her eventual husband. So the storytelling is just so unique and so powerful and funny, and it really is one of those plays that I think draws you in and you start laughing and having a good time, and then it delivers a gut punch,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then it
Yeah.
gets you laughing again, and then
Sure.
oh wait, here comes another gut punch.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the way that Jen tells this story, and I just think it's going to be a fabulous event, and that people will really be moved by it.
So on January 5th, because I definitely want to talk a little bit more about that, what can someone expect from this conversation that you guys are putting together at First
Because
Plymouth?
the playwright will be there, correct?
Correct. So it'll be the playwright, it'll be Meg Crane,
And the woman herself.
real life Shiro,
Yes.
will be there, and changer of the world. And Patti Pansing Brooks will be a moderator. If anybody's been to something like the Ian Thompson Forum lectures or
Okay.
those conversations,
Okay.
it'll be somewhat similar. Patti will be asking some questions of Meg, of Jen, and then of the two of them together, and really talking about the issues that the play raises. So it's not going to necessarily be about the play itself. It may get into some of the creation and the story of how Jen and Meg connected, and why did Meg allow someone to write a play about her?
Right.
Some of those kind of things. But it'll be about the issues that Meg faced, and the way that she had to go about really creating this test that ended up changing the world. Then there'll be some Q&A afterwards with the audience, and then we'll hopefully have enough conversation generated there to not only draw interest in the play, but to continue this conversation going,
Yeah.
so that it can continue to kind of ripple through the community, and we can really have a healthy community discussion about what I feel is a really important topic in our society.
It'll be interesting, too, to see your audience, what the ratio of men to women are in that audience.
Very curious.
Well, and I'm particularly looking, and I'm working with Reverend Holly Schmidt at First Plymouth, has a group called Her Voice Matters, and they're co-sponsoring this talk.
Nice.
And they're the ones who could be continuing the conversation through the summer. And one of the things that we've talked about is really wanting and valuing the voices of young women, because just the truth of the matter is, the young women can't imagine a world where they couldn't go right into CVS, get a pregnancy test, and even take that test in the bathroom of the CVS.
Right.
Yeah.
That world is foreign to them. The older women know of kind of the struggle to get there, and I think it's just really important generationally for not only men versus women, but generations of women to see this topic and see this real life person who has impacted their life in so many unknown ways.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially, and it's very interesting you say that about the younger women and not sort of being in a world where that was even a thing. And I think heck, I'm not that young, but since I've been sort of paying attention, we've always been in a world where abortion access was not, was always there, and then
was available.
Boy, did this year kind of knock that away. And I notice a lot of young folks are like, it really sort of rocked their world, because that was a done deal. That was a settled argument. That was a rock that you could stand on, and that rock got taken away this year.
In a lot of places.
And it looks like rolling through the next year or two, there's going to be states that, well, there are. We know this. A lot of states are lining up to do it already. Are looking to do the same.
Yeah.
And I did notice a lot of young women going, "Whoa, this was never even. It wasn't even on their radar that this could just
that right could be
disappear
taken away." Yeah.
You
Right.
know? And in fact, it is going to be disappearing for some folks. And
Yeah.
I think that's really fascinating that she's a similar thing. You know, the older women do remember a time when they couldn't do this, and now they can. And what a luxury that is. And I say luxury now because we thought we had a done deal, and now it's gone. So are rights
very
really
much
rights? The rights are only rights if there's somebody around to give them to you, apparently.
Well, I mean, the same could be said for theater. I've been doing some research because I found out that I'm distantly related to Sir Richard Steele, who wrote The Conscious Lovers. And so I've been delving into some of his work and even some of his writings where they talk about him not submitting his plays to the Ministry of whatever, I forget now, but he'd have to submit it to the government in order to be able to produce the play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
have
Can
to
you imagine
approve.
a time when you wouldn't
I
be
actually-
allowed to do that?
I actually think that rule still exists. I remember.
Does it really?
Yeah. So I'm going to go back in my history bank here, but my dissertation advisor a long time ago was Welsh. And he was telling me this story about having to submit a play he wrote as an undergraduate to the Ministry of, I forget what it's called,
I can't remember.
It's in
but
my
it
book.
had to be approved. Now they had a fairly liberal approval policy, but to your point, it was still, it had to be
You
approved
still had to go through a process. Yeah.
before you were able to put it on stage.
Yeah, so
And-
you couldn't do political plays. You wouldn't be able
That's
to do
right.
a play in comparative in our climate to theirs. A play like this probably wouldn't make it.
Well, and that.
yeah, might not.
And especially in England, it's just
Can you
shocking
imagine?
that they still do that, considering what they let their press get away with over there. and they want you to
Says
submit
the Harry
your.
and Meghan fans.
Well, I'm just saying they get away with saying things over there that would land people over here in court.
Right.
And and it's just so odd that but you have to submit your play. It's it's just it doesn't quite.
So I love
make
it. The
sense.
rebel in me loves it. The rebel in me loves it. I can do a play about this, and the fact that she wrote this play about Meg and what Meg did in a time where it probably wasn't appreciated in front of her. Until it got out to the public, she probably didn't even feel appreciated for her work.
Oh,
my guess.
I believe that. Yeah, I mean,
For sure. Well, and especially you said the way, of course, the way she went about it, because her goal, her ultimate goal wasn't to, hey, I made this thing, here comes the money, right? That was absolutely 100% not what it was about and not why she did it. And the fact that she did it, how she did it, tells you exactly why she did it.
Was she able to get the patent first before some of the other companies that we know of today?
Oh, yeah, she holds the patent to the first pregnancy
Oh,
test.
good.
Original patent, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
For sure. That is awesome.
In
Good
fact,
for her.
that design that you've probably seen on the postcard, that is the original Predictor design.
And is it? Okay.
And she developed this, Meg was trained as a designer. And one of her comments is like, I'm a designer. This is the work that I know how to do. How do I get something to fit and work and make sense? And she started with a paperclip holder. And had all of these requisite, and if you look at it, it is like one of those old paperclip, has an angled mirror at the bottom. So because the idea is that it's a urine based test, and so that they have to put in the urine with the reagent, and if the reagent makes a solid red circle on the bottom, that's a positive result. But you can't see that if you disturb the test tube. So hence the holder to hold it in place. And then the mirror is there so that you can see the bottom of it.
Yeah.
and be able to tell whether it's a positive or negative test.
Wow.
Much easier now when I can just look for the 2 lines on my COVID test.
Right. You got the lines now. Yeah.
Or what we did in the 80s and early 90s, which was a color of if the water turns blue or not.
Yes.
The water turns blue. Yeah.
It's blue. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I think, was was the movie you were
Singles.
thinking of.
It was Singles.
It was Singles as well.
Yeah. So it's an ingenious design.
It really
just an
is.
ingenious design.
It
Yeah.
really is. Mm-hmm. Amazing.
That is really, we're looking at it right now. That's interesting.
It's so cool. It's so cool that you guys are not only able to get the playwright Jennifer Blackmer for this, but you're able to get
Meg
herself
yeah.
to come in and
probably a doctor, Dr. Crane. We should probably call her Dr. Crane.
Doctor.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We should.
Dr.
I'm assuming
Crane.
she is. Yes, Dr. Crane.
Dr. Crane.
Dr. Crane, paging Dr. Crane. And that she gets to come in, and not only do they get to talk with the playwright, but they get to talk with her and ask her questions and hear what she thinks about the play that was written about her. Which I think is
That's fascinating. That is really fascinating. I'm so glad that you guys are doing this, and I'm so glad that Angels is so committed to developing new playwrights, helping actors with monologues and short stories and all of those things. I really appreciate what you guys bring to the table.
Thank you very much.
There in Lincoln.
Yes.
Yeah,
very,
absolutely.
very, very valuable part of our theater community, man.
Yes.
And
it's. I think I said before that we think that creation is a vital part of any healthy arts community.
Absolutely.
And it's a part that we really want to support and promote.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love it.
I love it, and the more folks we talk to, it seems like this area is has a kind of a interesting, fun reputation. Is it kind of a new play incubator type of area, and you guys are definitely a good and big part of that.
Well, and it sounds
and that's so exciting.
And it sounds like there's some others because after this, then it goes to Indianapolis, Indiana, to American Lives Theater, and then it goes to Capitol Stage in Sacramento.
Yes.
So we've got some little pockets around the country with Lincoln included that are including this play and doing new work.
And I'm assuming the Playhouse or the theater in Indiana, is that close to where she's at Ball State, where she teaches at?
Well, everything in Indiana is relatively close. We're from a plain state, but
fair enough.
I hit him on the head. Sorry.
It's not quite New Hampshire, but But no, Jen is in Muncie, which is probably about an hour outside of Indianapolis.
Okay.
But yeah,
I wasn't sure
it's
Muncie.
But I also grew up in Indiana, obviously, and then went to the University of Evansville, where I met Jen and all of our colleagues at that time. So it's just been a real pleasure to, you never could have told us this as undergraduates, but to watch each other succeed in the world and be in a position 30 years later to be working together on such an important artistic process
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, for me personally, this is just such a joy and such a I don't know the right word, but this reunion of souls.
Right.
Yes.
That somebody who you've known for this long and looked at their work and known their work, and I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to be able to work with her and to present something that I know is a really important play in her pantheon, and such an important play for Angels, and really such an important play for our community.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that connection probably just makes everything better.
Gotta be, it's so
Right?
satisfying. It's gotta be so
Oh, yeah.
satisfying.
Well, it's just gotta make the product just has to be probably even just a little bit better.
Well, and with all the personal connections and the material itself.
Yeah.
Everybody that just, as artists, we know that just gives us more steam, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really does.
Yeah, because you're creating with people that you're really comfortable with, and I think that probably has it's going to show. So
yeah,
it will show. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I certainly hope so.
Oh, Oh, wow. Well, I'm excited for your upcoming talk this on January 5th. I think
Yes.
this is a great conversation that I think that is going to happen.
Yeah, please come down and join us. It should be a
Yeah.
really great event, and we're really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
We're just hopeful that the weather is going to cooperate with us.
Yes.
That's true. I haven't looked past Christmas.
And it's the First Presbyterian Church?
First Plymouth Church.
Plymouth.
Yeah, First Plymouth Congregational Church. It's on
Congregational.
21st and D, or 20th and D.
Okay.
But it's it's been a really important church in supporting some of the work that we're doing, and just
really
their
nice.
their willingness to hold these conversations and
Right.
engage in the arts
Right.
as a way to have conversations.
Yes.
It's really been a gift.
Yeah, that. I love that. I love that you guys are doing that. And I think more and more theaters are realizing just how important it is. And even just like our podcast, people are getting more an easier way to understand what's going on and getting more information
Please.
as well about it. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on and talking
Oh,
about
thank
it
you.
with
Absolutely.
us.
Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, you're welcome anytime.
Absolutely.
And so, and we really want to say thank you to Timothy Scholl. He is the executive artistic director over at the Angels Theater Company. And we have been talking about Predictor, which is a new play by Jennifer Blackmer that is premiering at Angels on February 10th. But before that, on January 5th, they're going to have a talk not only with the playwright, but with Dr. Meg Crane, and she will be there as well. And they're going to have a talk, I would call it a talk back, but a talk, and also some questions and answers at the First Plymouth Congregational Church.
Yep.
And that is in Lincoln.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, and that's a free event, so that's wonderful that you're
Free event.
Free
opening up
to
the doors.
everyone. Yes,
Yeah.
free to everyone.
Just to even have the conversation before
That's a
they
huge
see it.
opportunity to meet and get to hear and speak with these women. And, of course, Timothy will also be there. And I'm assuming probably the cast will be there as well, maybe.
I think we'll have some cast members there as
Some of
well.
them.
So
Yeah.
it should be fun.
So can people go ahead and buy tickets for this, for the February 10th show?
Yes, so tickets are on sale on the Lead Center website. You can do it. Just look at their event list, and the play will be in the Johnny Carson Theater there at the Lead Center.
Nice.
I have yet to be to that theater. Every time I try to go to it, I end up across the street, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, she ends up across the street, and I end up in that theater. I've seen several things. I like that theater. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a nice little black box theater.
Yes, it is.
Really very nice place to perform here in Lincoln.
Thank you so much, Timothy, for taking the time to talk to us. You
Yes.
are a pleasure to talk to.
Thank you very much.
I know we can talk about other things for longer, but we won't keep you. So I can.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me, and I love coming to talk with you guys.
Oh, love it. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Yes,
You
thank
bet.
you.
Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Music for this podcast was used with permission by Screaming Skull Productions. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.